We are doing also
Yes, what is your question?
CI/CD pipeline.
Yeah, we are going to do a complete CI/CD pipeline, but there was a little flaw in CD pipeline that once anything happened to the CD pipeline, CI pipeline doesn't know what is going on with the CD pipeline, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Because we do not have any information to send back process. Instead, all the forward process or the all the DevOps process are proceeding one. Means when once get completed, the other one will proceed. It's like this. But the further one, if Jenkins got fail, it will not reflect the Git. Or if Docker container get fail, it will not reflect the Jenkins. Or if any pod what got destroyed, it will not reflect the Docker container. So there was, information missing of CD part. And there comes your ArgoCD, which is solving this issue. So I thought since we are going to do a complete CI/CD pipeline, and so the improvement of CD part should also be included, which I'm also working personally. That is ArgoCD one. So we'll
Okay.
cover ArgoCD along with that whole CI/CD pipeline and implement ArgoCD, and we'll see how it works. Okay. It may goes
Okay.
1 or 2 days. This
Okay.
time we'll just look into what is ArgoCD and how are we going to implement this one. We'll look into the installation part as well. And in the next class, I'll build one application. So that application will do the complete setup of that one from the starting till the ending. Okay. That will clear each and every doubt of every process that we'll go through of DevOps. Okay. With this note, let's start our Argo CD. Okay. Any idea do you have of Argo CD? Have you heard before?
No, no, Mukesh.
No. Great. Okay. Let's start. So what are we going to cover in this class? That we'll look into this. What is Argo CD? Its use cases, how Argo CD works, and what are the benefits we are getting out of it. Along with that, we'll do a hands-on demo project. We'll set up the fully automated CI/CD pipeline. Okay, I missed over here CI part, but that's okay. So it's in a single word. If I have to say what is the meaning of Argo CD, it means a continuous delivery system or delivery tool. A tool which let you to deliver continuously without any blockage. So far, we were having this one continuous build part, that is CI part, continuous integration, and continuous deployment. Okay, we were not having continuous delivery part. So even though we were having, but the tool were insufficient enough to provide the information back to the other processes. So let's look one by one. How CD is implemented in most of the project. Like we used to connect with the Jenkins, okay, CI/CD complete part. You involve Jenkins, GitLab, or in place of GitLab, you can use the GitHub part as well. Okay, and these are the two things that actually initiate your whole CI/CD part, right? From Git, you do the Git action, and Jenkins will take that node and start your build process. So whatever you have mentioned in your build, it will continuously build that one. Okay. How Argo CD compare to them? It's just another tool? No, not at all. And is it a replacement of any CI/CD tool? Let's look. Is it a replacement or is it a new tool introduction in between your whole CI/CD process, and how it is going to make the process of CI/CD easy? So this is what we actually do in general CI/CD pipeline. That whenever any new feature or bug reported to your Git repository, you put the fix of that one and push it on the test, right? Once the test gets succeeded, that test build the image through with the help of Jenkins server. In all the processes, Jenkins is involved. Okay. So what Jenkins will do? Jenkins will get trigger once anything pushed in the GitHub. Then it will build the image based on whatever the steps we have defined in the Jenkins server. And that image would then after pushed into our Docker Hub. Okay. From here forward, manifest files comes into the picture. where it takes the image from the Docker Hub and build the pods out of it. Remember?
Yes.
So how does it get deployed to K8 cluster? That is Kubernetes cluster. Update K8 deployment file with the new image tag. So whatever the image you have pushed, that image tag you have to mention over here.
Hmm.
Another thing, image. Suppose a new version of your application come into the picture with the version 2.0, right? But your deployment of the pod file was running 1.0, previous one, correct?
Hmm.
To update this file, you need to change to 2.0, right?
Yes.
So what will you do? First question is, where is this file? It will be located in the GitHub, correct?
Hmm.
Where in the GitHub? In your application folder or repository, where all your application source code is there.
Hmm.
So if I update this Kubernetes cluster deployment file to 1.0 to 2.0, it will trigger whole process, right?
Hmm.
It will again start everything from the beginning,
Hmm.
correct? But we only have to change this part. For that, why to run the whole complete CI process? So this was the issue. Okay. That even though I have to change single thing in my deployment file, why do I need to run the whole complete CI/CD pipeline? So this is the first issue that people comes into the picture. So so this is how it would look like with ArgoCD. So what ArgoCD does, uh, this is for without ArgoCD, that complete CI/CD. If you look, you have this test part, you build the image out of it, you push to the Docker, then Kubernetes manifest file will take this image and then run on it. Okay, and then apply kubectl apply, and your new deployment pods will be deployed. This is the
Hmm.
complete CI/CD workflow without Argo CD. This we used to know, and we have done practical on this one, right? Any process, if you have confusion, you can ask me.
Hmm.
Like, what is this update manifest file? Anything. Feel free to ask. It's okay if you have forgot something. That's completely fine.
Hmm. After the push to Docker repo.
Ha. Okay,
Hmm.
this one, na?
Yes.
So generally, if you remember, when we created our manifest file, which is deployment one, service one, config one, secret one, right?
Yes.
So main was the deployment one. Remember?
Hmm. Yes.
So deployment को चीजें कहाँ से मिलेगी? Means deployment require image of your application, right?
Hmm.
So where would it get the image?
Docker Hub.
Docker Hub से. So
Hmm.
you need to mention the image name in your application, that is deployment file,
Yes.
right? तो यहाँ अगर आप देखोगे तो कंटेनर में स्पेक और मेरा कंटेनर का नाम यहाँ पर दिया गया है. कंटेनर की इमेज में मेरा इमेज का नाम यहाँ दिया हुआ है,
Hmm.
राइट? So this image name, so whenever this part will run, what it will do, it will take the image from the Docker Hub and then based on यहाँ पर जितने भी replicas mention होंगे उतने उसके replicas बना देंगे.
Hmm.
Okay, and then secret and config this file will act accordingly. बट ये मेरा पॉड बना देगा मेन पार्ट.
Hmm.
किसका पॉड बनाएगा? योर एप्लीकेशन का. सो दिस इज व्हाट अपडेट के इट मैनिफेस्ट फाइल. तो अगर आप कुछ भी पुश इमेज पुश कर रहे हो तो आपको मैनिफेस्ट फाइल में अपडेट करना होगा ना.
Hmm.
ऑल द डिप्लॉयमेंट सर्विस कन्फिग और सीक्रेट फाइल इज नोन एज टुगेदर नोन एज मैनिफेस्ट फाइल.
Hmm.
ठीक है, आप अपडेट तो कर दिए. अपडेट करने के बाद रिमेंबर पॉड्स कैसे बनाते थे? kubectl apply deployment dot yaml फाइल.
Yes.
सो वहां से अगर वो कर देंगे तो वो पॉड हमारा बना देगा डिपेंडिंग अपॉन नंबर ऑफ replicas mentioned,
Okay.
राइट? उसके बाद इंग्रेस भी अप्लाई करना था, kubectl apply ingress.yaml, तो वो आपका इंग्रेस बना दिया. तो जैसे ही आपका द मोमेंट इट क्रिएटेड योर इंग्रेस फाइल, ना यू कैन सी इन योर लिंक ऑल्सो। तो वहाँ हम लोग लिंक में जाकर के चेक कर सकते हैं कि सारा अपडेट हुआ है कि नहीं हुआ है। सो दैट्स द फुल कंप्लीट CI/CD part without ArgoCD, which sounds pretty good. Any confusion?
No.
Okay. This is the question that you will be asked in the interview. Can you explain the full CI/CD part, okay, that you have worked upon, or you
Hmm.
think what are the tools will be included, and what is the possible commands? So just mention this part. If you
Okay.
mention this process,
Hmm.
okay, they'll be happy and good to know. Couple of questions they can ask only from what are the manifest, what is manifest file? First of all, they will ask.
Hmm.
Okay. Then how do you build image? What is the command to build the image? That it is docker build -t. Remember?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Then in which manifest file you will mention the container image or the application image? In which manifest file?
Deployment.
Deployment.
Hmm.
And in which manifest file your secrets will be there?
Secret file.
Secret file.
Hmm.
Okay. Which manifest file would help you to connect with the application interface where URL will be generated or you will connect with the URL?
Ingress.
Ingress.
Hmm.
Correct. So what is the command that you will use to to create your pods?
Kubectl apply.
kubectl apply. Great. And with that one, and if suppose uh, if uh, if replica set is mentioned 3, then
Hmm.
how many expected pods do you expect? If
Three
one,
pods.
3 pods. If suppose out of 3, one pod is got destroyed. So how many pods will be left?
It will automatically create the third one also.
Good. Got it?
Yeah.
People get confused all over here.
Hmm.
So what is the best practice of creating? Are you going to write all the manifest file by yourself? Or
Hmm.
they may ask like this, did you created all the manifest file by yourself for your application? Or did you take any help like this?
Okay. Then what to say?
Then you can say we have this Kubernetes documentation where
Hmm.
all the manifest file introduction or kind of syntax is available over there. So mostly what I used to do based upon if I required the deployment one, I take the syntax from there. I do the changes or the modification based upon my application, and then I apply those changes. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. They may ask you if they want to go a little bit more deeper, can you explain the structure of manifest file, like the deployment manifest file?
Hmm.
So kind, then
First
आपके
one.
पास API वर्जन है, kind है,
Then,
metadata, spec, template, and template के अंदर में spec. That's all.
yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
इतना ही mention कर दोगे, they'll be happy. Good to know.
Okay.
If you even touch the one part of their question, they'll be good to know, and they themselves sometimes help you to correct your answer. You just
Okay.
have to not go in a wrong direction and not try to divert the interviewer.
Hmm. Okay.
So be clear with your answers, okay?
Hmm.
Hmm. Now, what is the problem with this workflow? The workflow that we have seen, what is the problem? First installation and the setup the tool. आपको Kubernetes इंस्टॉल करना होगा, सपोज इसमें Grafana Prometheus है तो Helm भी इंस्टॉल करना होगा,
Hmm.
राइट?
Right.
देन kubectl सेटअप इंस्टॉलेशन सारा चीज आपको मैनुअली ये सारा चीज करना पड़ेगा.
Hmm.
That's the first challenge. Second, configure access to K8. So all like the secret part, you have to configure that one as well. Okay, if anything changes, you have to again go and configure it. So ये again hectic है to provide access to every pod like that. Or अगर in that case, if it is connected to AWS EKS, again it will be a huge challenge for you. to configure access to the cloud platform. Your cloud platform के लिए you need to get connected with AWS CLI, फिर AWS configure, वहाँ IAM user आपको बनाना पड़ेगा, उसके सारे credentials आपको इससे देने पड़ेंगे, and then
Mm.
only you can apply the kubectl.
Yes.
Then comes your security challenge. While doing all this security tasks, there is a chance that there is a security breach हो सकता है. Okay,
Mm.
so there is a security challenge as well. And no visibility to the deployment status. अगर deployment पास हुआ या फेल हुआ है उसके स्टेटस आपको नहीं पता चलेंगे जेंकिंस पे वापस, because there is no reverse back. Okay, so अगर वहां पर आपने AWS पे गया डिप्लॉय किया और वहां फेल हो गया, so in that case you have to mention a trigger part generally जो हम लोग करते हैं कि अगर कुछ प्रॉब्लम हुआ, फॉर एग्जांपल if I show
Mm.
you my outlook, अगर कोई भी see, see, अगर कोई भी डिप्लॉयमेंट पास होता है या फेल होता है, यू हैव टू
Mm.
मेंशन अ ट्रिगर फॉर दैट वन, डिप्लॉयमेंट फेल्ड. ओके, सो इससे क्या होगा ना, आपका पूरा ईमेल भर जाएगा एंड इट विल
Mm.
बी डिफिकल्ट टू ट्रैक ऑल्सो. लॉट ऑफ थिंग इज डिफिकल्ट ओवर हियर. सो आपको चाहिए कोई ऐसा डैशबोर्ड हो मेरे पास where I can
Mm.
easily see how many deployment failed, where it failed, okay, or if was there any changes in the manifest file. ऐसा कोई एक hub होना चाहिए where you
Mm.
can track all this change. Okay, so that hub is basically, okay, no visibility to the deployment status, or even if it is visible, it will be blunder too much of information to handle at one time. Because हर एक छोटे छोटे चीज के लिए you require a different notification for that one.
Mm.
So the challenge is, did app get created successfully in the cluster or not? So these are the challenges. Now this CD part, the challenge part, can be improved. First part is okay. Up to here, it's a Jenkins can easily handle. Problem comes from here, where everything is happening inside the Kubernetes. Okay. So let's see how we can improve this one. And ArgoCD comes into the picture based on GitOps. अब GitOps क्या है? Git operation basically है. We'll look into this one along with this. So how does ArgoCD make the progress process more efficient? So far, what is the problem with our CD? You understood?
Mm.
अगर एक सिंपल भाषा मुझे बताना होगा कि what is the problem with our CD process is that we cannot track CD efficiently with the traditional approach.
Mm.
Like we have the pod failure, deployment failure, okay, or
Mm.
any changes in the manifest file will trigger whole CI/CD pipeline. So these are the couple of things that can be more efficient. We can build more efficient. Or is there any tool which is making it more efficient? So if interviewer asks, what is the problem with the traditional process for which the Argo CD was introduced? So the problem was, I'll give you the more refined answer in the written format as well.
Okay.
Okay. So the problem was, first problem was that any change in the manifest file will trigger a whole CI/CD pipeline build pipeline. Okay, which will cost time. Along with that, and there's a chance of lot of problems. If any CI problem occur हो सकता है, lot of problems. Okay, time consuming here because all the build pipelines, some build pipelines take 3-4 hours. For a single change in the manifest file, if you are taking 3-4 hours, it's again going to cost you.
Yes.
So a second issue is that अगर आगे चल करके deployment में if any failure comes, either I will be getting a lot of notification or email which is difficult to track, or I may not get any information if no notification was or no hook was triggered. So there is, or if there is any problem with the pod, I won't be able to unless I explicitly go into the Kubernetes and see the pod failures, right? So these are the couple of things for which ArgoCD build a dashboard, which basically help us to sync all these things. I don't have to jump from one platform to another to see what is going on with my CD pipeline. Argo CD is more efficient for your CD. It will not going to interfere in your CI pipeline. Clear हुआ?
Mm.
Okay. There could be little bit more confusion, which I'll give you in the written format. So वो और थोड़ा clear हो जाएगा. But so
Okay.
far, it is making your CD part efficient. How? देखते हैं. So what Argo CD is going to do? पहले तो ये इंस्टॉल कहाँ होगा? ये होगा आपके Kubernetes के अंदर में इंस्टॉल, जैसे प्रोमीथियस और ग्राफाना हम लोगों ने किया था. रिमेम्बर?
Mm. Yes.
सेकेंड, आर्गो सीडी काम क्या करता है? इट pulls the K8 manifest file and apply the changes. Now remember, the first issue was what with the Kubernetes was that any change in the manifest file will trigger whole CI/CD pipeline.
Mm.
मुझे वो नहीं चाहिए. I don't want that one. What I want, अगर manifest file में changes है, so you only apply that change. Do not run whole CI/CD. So Argo CD, what it will do, it get connect with the Git, and if any change only in your manifest file, then only Argo CD will trigger it and do all the deployment part.
Mm.
So now one part तो solve हो गया कि मेरा whole CI/CD pipeline को run नहीं करना पड़ेगा. बस मुझे Argo CD को लिंक करना पड़ेगा अपने Git repository से जहां पर मेरा YAML फाइल है. Now, the second thing is that you need to have two Git repository. Uh, what I'm typing. GitHub. I'll go over here, sign into GitHub. Mm, mm. This is my GitHub application. Okay.
Yes.
So if I go to my web project, mm, यहाँ पर नहीं है. Just a minute. See, this is my whole application, right?
Mm.
In
Yes.
this whole application, I have this deployment.yaml file, service.yaml file, which means any change अगर यहाँ पर होता है, it will trigger the Jenkins pipeline because you have only one repository, right?
Yes.
So whole CI/CD pipeline will run only because there is some change in the deployment one.
Mm.
So what Argo CD did? Argo CD just what you create two repository. One for your this part application, other for
Mm.
your manifest file. जहाँ पर where you will find only your deployment file, service file, service.yaml, config.yaml, secret.yaml, or ingress.yaml. All the
Mm.
config file will be there. So you'll be having two repository, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's the first condition. Okay. So what it will do now? अब ये क्या कर रहा है? So again, you have this CI pipeline, test, build image, push to the repository, update K8 manifest file, where in your different Git repository. So it looks like this. You have two repository, one for your source code, other for your app configuration, which is your
mm,
all K8 manifest file. So this is the best practice for the Git repository for any application. If you entering in any organization, and if you find the organization is using single repository, you can pitch your idea that why don't we have two separate repository? Okay, one repository, separate Git repository, one which include only the source code, other includes only the configuration file of your or manifest file of your Kubernetes. So separate Git repository for application source code and configuration source code, which is basically K8 manifest file. Even separate Git repository for system configuration. अगर you required if any system configuration file as well, so उसके लिए भी एक और Git repository अलग से create करके रखो. Okay, this will ease your application handling. If developer has to look, developer would not get confused. भाई ये manifest file क्या होता है?
mm,
Developer has nothing to do with that one. DevOps engineer basically take care of that. But developer has to clone the code, right? So
mm,
whenever if they clone the code, they will get the manifest file as well. So if you come over here,
mm.
और मैं आपको अगर ये लिंक देता हूँ कि जाइए आप इसे क्लोन कीजिए. So if I clone this one, you will get all these files.
Yes,
You may get confused since you have no idea as a developer what is this deployment YAML file and service YAML file.
correct.
Here it is. So
Mm,
it may create confusion among the developer as well.
mm,
And there is a chance that developer do some mistake or change some part on deployment or YAML file. हो सकता है. If any newbie comes, they may do some changes on this one. Correct. Even though we can track that one, but we don't want that to be happen. वो situation ही ना आए. So what
mm,
we'll do, the best practice to create two separate repository, one for your whole application source code, other for your app K8 manifest file.
mm.
Okay. So not only यहाँ पर आप सिर्फ not only deployment YAML file, but also all the config map secret, all the YAML file you put in this one. Okay. Config map, secrets, service file. Okay. Everything you can put over here. K8 manifest file can change independent of the source code. So now since you have a different Git repository, you can change it this one independently without touching the source code.
Okay.
So this is your application configuration part. कि now you have to not to worry about the source code. कि इतने सारे sometimes people get overwhelmed with the repository. If you see the repository of the GitHub, this is just a small application, but see how many files are here.
Yes.
So if a DevOps engineer also get overwhelmed looking into this one and finding that यहाँ मुझे change करना है and I have to change over here, it's
Mm,
overwhelming for them as well. So it's better to create separate one where DevOps
mm.
engineer would be much more focused on their task without worrying about the application source code. That's the first ease. Now, why separate upload to Git file? You don't want to trigger the full CI pipeline, right? For changing in update in the K8 manifest file, you don't want to trigger this source code and you don't want complex logic of CI pipeline. Because as a DevOps engineer, if I run the pipeline where all the application and config file resides in a single source code, single repository, then you will get every data. अगर मान लो fail हो गया CI pipeline में because of source code, but what you did, you changed in the manifest file. So now you get confused as a DevOps engineer. Is it my fault or is it the developer fault? Lot of confusion back and forth will start happening
Mm.
because you don't know the error is because of the source code or because of the app configuration. So for that purpose, again, it is making you feel easy that you did only change in the app configuration. So if any problem is also coming, it is because of your app configuration, not because of the source code. So no complex logic you have to apply for the CI pipeline. Got it?
Yes.
Great. So now what it is doing? Updating all the YAML in a separate Git repository. That's the
Mm,
benefit we are going to have. This part will Jenkins will handle, and from here ArgoCD will handle. So how ArgoCD will handle? ArgoCD get connected to your other Git repository where your manifest file is
Mm,
having, not the source code. ArgoCD will
mm,
not touch the source code. So any change in this manifest file, ArgoCD will get trigger, not your CI pipeline. Now
okay.
ArgoCD is living inside your Kubernetes, so it will handle all the pods, services, config map, ingress, everything ArgoCD will handle by
Mm,
just having attachment with the app config repository. Now see how it is easy it get now compared to the previous step. That earlier everything was any change would trigger the whole pipeline. Now
mm,
only change in this one will trigger the this part Argo CD and will do the continuous deployment only here. No change to this part.
okay.
Got it? In this way, the ease of doing the task get more easier. No more confusion, no more uh, complex CI pipeline handling at all.
Mm,
Got it? So Argo
yes.
CD का कहाँ use आ रहा है? In the other Git repository where all your Git manifest file residing.
Okay. But what
Hmm.
if we want to do some changes in the source code?
Huh. Then if you will do some changes in the source code, it will run the whole CI/CD pipeline.
Okay.
Okay. In that case, you will be very much clear that if error is coming, it's not because of us. It's because of the developer has done something. Because I run only the source code application, right? Changes were done in the source code, not in
Mm,
my app config. So I'll be very much free and I can easily handle the developers that you come and look into your errors.
okay.
Okay.
Mm,
But one more thing, CD part would not get trigger until and unless there is some changes in the app config.
okay.
Okay.
Mm,
So in
right.
this way, my time also got saved
Mm,
because Argo CD will see. I'll tell you in the later course that what Argo CD does. First, the syncing part you understood. Argo CD sync with your app config
mm,
repository.
correct.
So all the Kate manifest file can be defined in a Argo CD. You can define all your Helm chart. This is something different. Kubernetes manifest file, okay,
Mm,
and the template file that generate the Kate manifest file. Everything you can handle in your Argo CD, okay,
mm,
and it will trigger only when there is some changes in the app config. Otherwise, all your pods will remain as it is. Now see, if CI pipeline is there, it will handle by the DevOps or the developer team. If
mm,
any problem in the CD part, developer doesn't have to come and check. Only operation and the DevOps team will take care. Okay.
yes.
Sorry. So now the part of doing the work has been separated and people know their work. If any problem comes in the CD part, these people come and handle it. If any problem comes over here, these people come and handle it. Okay. No more confusion at all.
Mm,
Now this is the not this one. If you see the benefit, whole K8 configuration define code in a Git repository. First thing that we
mm,
have a separate Git repository. Second, config files are not applied manually from the local laptop. It means if you have to change anything in the config map, आप अपने local में change नहीं कर सकते. Local में change करके push करना, it's better just go and do the changes in the repository itself. Okay, and same interface for updating the cluster. Means you will get a single interface to update all these things.
mm,
Okay. Now Git as a single source of a truth, quickly updating something in the cluster directly changes. So it's basically says what happen if someone update the cluster manually. Okay. For example, your Kubernetes cluster is having two pods. Okay. अगर वहां जा करके मैनुअली कोई थ्रू कमांड अगर कोई चेंज कर देता है या वर्जन चेंज कर देता है थ्रू कमांड, नॉट थ्रू द मैनिफेस्ट फाइल, थ्रू द
हम्म,
कमांड, then what will happen? So Argo CD is very talented. What it will see, what is the actual state? Okay. किसी ने explicitly command से change किया है. So it will see
हम्म,
what is the actual state. And then since it is sync with the config map repository, it will see what is the desired state. Because norms क्या है? You cannot directly go and apply command on the Kubernetes cluster. You have to change in the config file and then apply the command. ठीक है, आप डायरेक्टली जा करके क्लस्टर पे कोई भी कमांड नहीं रन कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज उसमें कोई ट्रैक नहीं कर पाएगा ना, हु चेंज द कमांड, हु डिड इट, यू कांट ट्रैक इट। गिट में क्या है, आपने कमिट पुश किया तो वहां मुझे हिस्ट्री में पता चल जाएगा हु पुश द कमांड,
हम्म,
बट हियर आई एम नॉट एबल टू ट्रैक इट, if someone is coming and directly applying the command on the Kubernetes dashboard. Okay, so this Argo City is bit talented. It will see what is the actual state. अब दिस बंदे ने कुछ चेंज करके पॉट को 3 से 5 कर दिया, बट मैनिफेस्ट फाइल में कितना है 3,
हाँ,
एंड ही हैज इंक्रीज टू 5. सो आर्गो सिटी विल चेक व्हाट इज द एक्चुअल स्टेट 5, what should be the desired state 3. So Argo CD compare the desired configuration in the Git repo with the actual one, and then it equate, means based on the desired state, it will create the environment like that. So even if someone is coming and doing manual overwriting, Argo CD will sync the changes again. So वो फिर से 5 से 3 हो जाएगा.
ओके.
So Argo CD will detect the state diverged, and
हम्म,
Argo CD will sync the changes, overwriting the manual changes. So manual changes इस बंदे ने किया था, so इसको ये
हम्म,
overwrite कर देगा, and will bring back to the same replica that it was actually mentioned in the config files. Got it? This is the
हम्म,
another benefit that we are having. No manual intervention would be tolerated. Everything has to come through your K8 repository.
ओके.
Any question or any confusion, feel free to ask.
मैनुअल इंटरवेंशन मतलब वो तो
मैनुअल इंटरवेंशन जैसे कि
करने के लिए ही करेगा ना.
क्या क्या?
उसको कोई चेंजेस करने होगा तो ही मैनुअल इंटरवेंशन होगा ना, तो वो
हाँ,
एक्चुअल
सो
स्टेट
इफ
में क्यों
अगर आपको
आता.
कोई चेंजेस करना है तो आप मैनिफेस्ट फाइल में करो. आई कैन ट्रैक
ओके.
हु डिड दिस. अगर मैं देखो यहाँ आता हूँ, मैं लिखता हूँ kubectl गेट पॉट्स. ठीक है,
हम्म.
मैंने क्या किया यहाँ डायरेक्टली आकर के
स्टार्ट.
इंटरनेट ओके डॉकर हब वगैरह सब नहीं. मेरा मुझे स्टार्ट करना पड़ेगा ना, मिनी क्यूब स्टार्ट.
हम्म.
मिनी क्यूब इज अ डॉकर डिपेंडेंट, so I need to start the Docker desktop for that film. Because if you see the error, I'll just minimize it.
हम्म.
Could not get the current server API group, and those APIs are residing on your Docker app. So
ओके.
I'll just do minikube
स्टार्ट.
start. So it will start the minikube
हम्म.
in your Docker desktop, and then you can run it. So देखो, I'm in the command line. Okay, I can directly come and do all the changes. Replica भी change करना तो I can change directly from here, from 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Anything you can done do through command line. And now if someone, me as a suspicious person coming and doing all the changes in the
हम्म.
command line, there is no logs who has done it. Because everything is happening through command line. किसने
Yes.
change किया? You have no track,
हम्म.
right? So there is a chance that developer do it by mistake, or they don't know what is the correct procedure to do it and did it in this way. So this will hamper our whole application, which we don't
Okay.
want.
Mhm.
And that's why this Argo CD will help us in that one. That it won't let anything manually applied on your Kubernetes cluster to be
Mhm.
reflected unless there is some change in your manifest file.
Right.
So the correct procedure is you come here and do the
Mhm.
changes, and that will automatically reflect in your Kubernetes cluster. In this way, I can track who has done the changes. If कुछ गलत भी हुआ तो I can tell to the person who has done this change.
Mhm.
Got it? It
Yes.
just like replicas है. Replicas में क्या होता था? मैंने एक रेप्लिका डिलीट कर दिया, बट रेप्लिका सेट कितने का था? 3 का था. So do I
Mhm.
have 2 replicas? No. Kubernetes will always maintain 3 replica.
Yes.
Same like Argo CD. मैंने आया
Mhm.
यहाँ पे और 3 से 5 रेप्लिकास कर दिया. बट आर्गो सीडी इज लुकिंग दैट इन मैनिफेस्ट फाइल में तो 3 ही है, तो आपने 5 कैसे कर दिया? So it will again
Mhm.
revert back to 3.
Mhm.
Okay. So need a quick way to update the cluster and Argo CD configure everything. So Argo CD to not sync manual cluster changes automatically.
Mhm.
अगर मैनुअली कोई आप यहाँ चेंज करे तो उसको वो यहाँ पर रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं करेगा आर्गो सीडी.
Mhm.
Argo CD will only reflect in Kubernetes cluster if anything change in app configuration and send alert instead. कि अगर कोई मैनुअली चेंज करा तो Argo CD will detect and send the alert. In this way, I'll know someone is doing manual intervention. Right. You never know who can do anything wrong in your application.
Mhm.
But what you know that you should have a proper way to track what is going on with your application and who is doing all those things. If you cannot track it, it will definitely hamper your application. Anyone can visit and destroy your application. So this is untrackable, as I told you, that manually intervention is untrackable. But here, when people do any changes in the Git commit or Git push, it has single interface, version control changes, and history of the changes. Everything is visible. Got it?
Yes.
Great. Other benefit is the rollback. अगर कुछ प्रॉब्लम आ जाती है, you can do
Mhm.
git revert and you can switch back to the previous changes.
Okay.
Right? It's not that you are going to change only one thing. There could be couple of multiple changes, and if any of the changes fail, your application will suffer, and because of that, the customer will suffer. And once you get the customer bad feedback, your application will go down. In that process, you have to quickly roll back, and Git will help you to do that one. Imagine if all these things you have to do manually. It is a very hectic task.
Mhm.
Or if both source code and the app, this gate file residing in a single repository, then if you do the rollback, all the changes in the source code also get revert, right?
Mhm.
So that's the another issue. Easy rollback. Okay. And changes are synced. These are imperative step-by-step instruction how to revert it. You can easily do it. No need to manually revert every update in the cluster. You just mention the step and it will revert it like this.
Mhm.
Then cluster disaster recovery. If anything goes down in your cluster, suppose आपने एक region पे अपने EKS cluster को रखा था, okay, and that region got destroyed. So everything, all your pod service, everything destroy हो जाएगा. But since you have the data in your GitHub, just do git
Mhm.
kubectl apply. Again सारा कुछ create हो जाएगा.
Okay.
So again, disaster recovery, we can easily handle it.
Mhm.
Imagine if you don't have this part, then it is going to cost a lot,
Mhm.
right? Okay. So benefit you get with the GitOps. Generally, if you connect with the GitOps, all this CI/CD, it became GitOps. From Git to GitOps. ArgoCD is based on GitOps because it is using Git and help to implement those GitOps principles.
Okay.
ArgoCD uses the existing Git. So whatever the functionality of Kubernetes, ArgoCD use that one as well. Controlling, then etcd, everything. Okay, real-time update you will get pod health, healthy status, pod created or not, everything. And this is the linking. Basically, if you have desired state, actual
Mm.
state, it will link together, which we have already seen. How to configure? You need to have two repository, that's for sure.
Okay.
Okay. About all these things will come later because this is the another YAML file that you have to create for your Argo CD. Okay. So if you see over here, you will mention the repository where your Argo CD file is there. Basically the manifest file. Okay.
Mm.
And the Kubernetes server. That's it. These two things, if you'll provide, it will sync both. Get to
Okay.
your Kubernetes.
Mm.
How to configure this, we will see in the practical.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this is what our project is.
Mm.
So just see us. So basically, it says the first step is to install Argo CD in your Kubernetes cluster. Okay.
Mhm.
Second
Okay.
step, configure it. Third step,
Mm.
test our setup of the deployment.yaml file.
Mm.
Okay. And then we will sync it with our repository with our Kubernetes. Okay. We'll sync it both. And whatever update will happening in this one Git, it should reflect in our Argo CD or the Kubernetes cluster. Got it?
Mm.
So the if I'll tell you the whole step that we'll be going to follow, it will be look like this. Uh, Here it is. This is what we are going to do. First part, we'll create a CI part, okay, and we'll sync it with our Argo CD. So अगर source code में कोई changes होता है, so this part will run. App config में repository में कोई change हुआ, so this part will run. Got it?
Mm. Mm.
So this is our task for demo purpose. Any confusion, any question?
No.
Okay. So shall we look the installation part in the very next class or shall we do it right now? What do you suggest?
Um, Next class.
Next class में करते हैं सारा चीज. Okay. Next class
Mm.
will be full hands on.
Okay.
Okay. Do some your own research for the Argo CD. Okay. Study a little
Yes.
bit from your end, which will
Yes.
give you more clarity. I'll upload this video as well. Okay.
Mm. Okay.
Let me stop.